Well, and it can even influence the negotiation that is underway there. Most likely, if it gets tough and the seller's questioning whether they want to continue with that buyer, they're going to ask their broker, "Well, is anybody else interested?
Yep.
Or is this the only person that's really out there?" And if the broker doesn't know that you're out there, they might say, "Well, this is the only person we got. This is the best thing we can do."
Hello and welcome to Pillars of Wealth Creation, where we talk about creating financial success with a special focus on business and real estate. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer. Now, let's get to it. Are you ready to start investing in real estate today but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with HomeInvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars to claim your free course today. Hey, welcome back to Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'm your host, Todd Dexheimer, and with me, as always, on these Hump Day Hustles is John Stiles with Bridge Realty. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great today, Todd. How are you?
I am excellent. Thanks for asking. So, John, anything new that you want to mention before we get started?
Not too much new. This week, there's a lot of meetups going on, so doing some networking this week. But aside from that, it's trying to stay focused on getting in my calls. So, yeah.
Awesome.
What's going on with
Yeah.
you?
Kind of same thing, trying to balance and see if I can get to some of these meetups. There's a couple that are really interesting to me that are going on. The Minnesota Real Estate Journal, maybe it's called.
Okay.
They have a office summit, which I'd like to go to because I definitely am interested in the office space and what's going on there. I think there's opportunity in office. I think that we are definitely on the upward trend of office instead of the potential downward slide like several other sectors. So I'd like to get there. The problem is I put my kids on the bus in the morning and it starts at 8 a.m. and my kids don't get on the bus until 8:30. And it's all the way across the other side of town. So it's like a 45-minute drive. So I got to figure out how to do that, logistics of that. I got to ask the sweetheart if she can bring the kids to the bus, because the following week there's a opportunity zones conference, and I that's what I'm going to go to. So she's already taken the kids for that. So there's a couple of those that I want to go to. There's a multifamily one coming up that they do. They do quite a few really good ones. So if you're in a different city than the Twin Cities, I'm sure most large cities have a real estate journal, and they put on a lot of good conferences. So that's something to look up if you haven't done so already, is look up and see if, let's say if you're in our neighboring state of Wisconsin, there might be Wisconsin Real Estate Journal, and you can look up, and maybe Milwaukee or Madison has different hosts events and so on. So and really good professional events. And the thing I like a lot about these events is that you've got a lot of the, like, this is more commercial space. So if you're in residential, it's probably not going to apply to you as much. But if you're in like the multifamily space, if you're in the office space, industrial space, all that kind of stuff, it really does apply to you. And there's a lot of the kind of the A brokers there, the people that you want to get to know. So it's not only is it good of content that they provide, but it's really good networking as well. At least our uh, chapter or whatever you call it is really good. So yeah, so that's just something for people to check out if you're into real estate and into the kind of the commercial side and want to either be a broker or want to be an investor. Those are really good events to go to. So, oh, hey, by the way, John, we've kind of mentioned the best Christmas ever before, and about nominating a family, and the group that I'm a part of now has nominated a family. So now it's time for like donations and volunteering and stuff like that. So if anybody wants to donate, this family has fallen on hard times. They actually have a daughter who is battling illness, cancer, and likely not living very much longer. So it's actually really sad. And so this is a situation for people to get involved, whether it's through financial resources or physical resources. We need, a lot of help for this. So if you want, we'll put a show notes link on the page. You can go to that, click on it. You can support us or support them however you want, support our efforts to help this family. So we'll put that on the show notes just for people to see.
Is there a goal that you have for a certain amount to raise, or?
We're trying to provide them with some work on their house. Like the daughter, is very sensitive to allergens, and her, carpet in her room is nasty and gross. And so trying to replace that, trying to clean up, the whole property, and there's a door that's like leaking, and trying to replace that. And then of course trying to buy some gifts and stuff for Christmas. I'd have to look and see if there's a exact financial amount or not.
Okay.
So
Good. Well, we'll look for that in the show notes.
beyond that, today I really wanted to focus and talk a little bit about a big kind of mistake that I made lately. And it was just essentially not really conveying my interest properly to a broker. There was a property that I think it was 182 units, I believe, or somewhere around there. And I made an offer on it, but the offer at the time was too low, and we kind of went back and forth on it. I increased my offer a little bit, and then there was another guy offering out at the same time, and they were willing to pay, I think, like 10.5 million for it, and I wasn't willing to pay that. So I basically said, look, you know what, I'm not interested anymore. Just let them have it. I'm not going to pay that. So they get the property, they put it under contract, they do their due diligence, and they drop out of due diligence. And I found out they dropped out of due diligence, went back to the broker and said, hey, I heard it dropped out of due diligence. I'd love to throw my offer back in again. And they said, well, it's sold still. And I said, oh, I thought they dropped out. They said, well, yeah, but the next buyer, another buyer came in and put an offer on it. And I said, well, I don't, if you don't mind telling me, what about did they put it on a contract? And they gave me, I don't know if they gave me the exact number, but they gave me basically a number. And I'm going, holy cow, I would have paid that price for this building. And I kind of made, mention of it. I said, oh, shoot, I would have paid that type of thing. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, would have liked to sell it to you, but you made it sound like you weren't interested. And that just was like, oh my gosh, how how easy would it been for me, instead of just saying, look, I'm not interested in this property anymore, previously say, look, I can't pay this price, but if it comes back on, I'm the first one I want you, I want you to call me. I'm really interested in this property still. I just can't pay that price. Instead, I just kind of blew it off like, whatever, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to pay that price. And that was my fault, versus, look, I'm very interested in this property. I want to be your first call when this does fall apart. And I think that's really important. And so when you're doing business, I think it's really important. It got me thinking of like the whole kind of aspect of doing business. When you're doing business, really important for people to understand what you actually do. Is if you ever have intention of doing business, a lot of deals get done just because somebody knows what you're doing. I was playing hockey the other day and with this group, and one of the guys that plays hockey buys some real estate. And I asked him, I said, hey, buying any real estate lately? Because the last time I talked to him, he really just wasn't. He wasn't finding any deals. And he said, yeah, actually, I just did. I bought a piece of single family house in Maple Grove for $100,000. Like, wow, $100,000 in Maple Grove. That's a great price. Anybody who knows Maple Grove knows that that's a great price. And I said, how'd you find it? And he said, well, yeah, I can't remember exactly the connection, but it was like my aunt's friend needed to get rid of the house. And so they called me up. They knew I bought houses and they called me up and we put it together, and I think it closed within like 24 hours or something like that. Like, wow, that's the power of people knowing what you do. He would never have got that house if he didn't talk at all about what he did. And a lot of us don't talk too much about what we do. And so that's just the power of power of like intention, power of making sure people know what you do, knowing what you want to do. Like I said, with these brokers, just if I would have really relayed to them that, look, I want this property. I'm not willing to pay that price. I'm willing to pay this price. If it comes back on the market, let me know. And that property I would have had likely under contract at this time, and it would have been a great property. It's in a great location. And I would have had a great asset that I would have been presenting to my investors. But at this time, I have no property that I'm presenting to my investors. And it's because I didn't, properly communicate.
Well, that's a good learning opportunity. And I will say, a lot of times when properties go under contract, it's easy for us to write them off because most likely, it'll work itself out and get closed. But for those ones that do fall apart, you don't want to miss out on those opportunities. So,
yep. Yeah. And you want to be, yeah. And it doesn't matter, even if it does go through, if they know your intention, if they know your desire, they're going to be a lot more likely to put another deal in front of you. They're going to think of you first. If you're really diligent in telling them, look, I want that property. If this falls through, I want to be your backup call, especially if it's a property you would have paid that price, but it either got under contract first or whatever happened. But if you let the broker know that, look, I want this property, if it falls through, I'm your first call. Then if that property still goes through, but they find a like kind property and they go, wow, I bet, Todd would be interested in this property. They're going to send it to me versus the other guy that's, doing the exact same thing, so my guess is this other party that got this property under contract was diligent with them, was saying, look, yeah, we're interested. If this thing falls through, we want it. And I didn't. So.
Well, and it can even influence the negotiation that is underway there. Most likely if it gets tough and the seller's questioning whether they want to continue with that buyer, they're going to ask their broker, well, is anybody else interested?
Yep.
or is this the only person that's really out there? And if the broker doesn't know that you're out there, they might say, well, this is the only person we got. This is the best thing we can do.
Yeah. 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 The other guy dropped out. He's not interested versus, yeah, the guy that was willing, but he's only willing to pay this amount, at least right now, but he's very interested at that price. If they would have said that and he would have said, okay, let's do it. Cause my guess is this offer that fell through, the guy went back and said, look, these are the problems. I need you to take this amount off, or I need you to do this repairs, or whatever it was. I need you to finance part of it, whatever it was. He did something that the seller just didn't want to deal with. And maybe sometimes your offer might be even lower than what they're coming back at, but the seller just goes, look, I don't want to deal with this guy. This guy's trying to play me. I don't want to deal with them. Let's deal with this other offer. So
Exactly.
it might not even be necessarily the price. It just might be the person,
Yep.
I want to deal with somebody that's easy. And as a seller, you want to deal with somebody you know is going to close. And if there's somebody jerking you around all the time, you question whether they're going to be able to close or not.
Yep. Primarily, we think that price is the be all end all in negotiations, but there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
How is it going in the closing time, in the concessions, and different things? There's a lot that plays into it.
Yeah. And especially with commercial, if you can convey your professionalism, if you can, if you can show that you're the type of person that's going to follow through and going to actually close, people want that and they respect that. They would, because a lot of fear goes into, okay, I'm going to tie this property up. Yeah, they're giving me a great price. They're paying, $10 million when I thought I was only going to get $9 million. But can they really close on this thing? Do they have any experience? Like, why should I trust this deal? Go all the way through, because it costs me energy, costs me time. It disrupts my life, and it disrupts my property, disrupts my employees that are working on that property. So there's a lot of disruption going on. So if you can't close, why tie it up at a great price? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it's different than residential. Where residential, there's not a lot of disruption. Yeah, is it a little disruption? Yeah, we do want to make sure we still got a good buyer. But if we got a letter from a bank or from a lender, that's pretty much all you ever look at. Like, you don't dig into their financials. You don't dig into their experience. You don't call their employer. You don't do that type of stuff with residential. But with multifamily, I mean, you're trying to dig in as much as you can about who's buying it, or with commercial, and we want to make sure they're actually real. Yeah. So anyways, I mean, probably a short episode, but that's really what I wanted to cover, is just that power of being able to get out there, be able to tell people who you are, what you do. I think, Facebook is great for that as well. And social media, other social media outlets, Bigger Pockets for real estate, and LinkedIn and stuff like that. It's not necessarily with the brokers that I'm talking about, but just letting people know who you are is going to be very powerful for being able to potentially do business with people. I get leads. I get potential, partnership opportunities from this podcast, being on other people's podcasts, being on LinkedIn, Facebook, Bigger Pockets. I get leads. Not every day. I would love to get more leads, but I get leads just by doing that and being somebody that people associate with. Okay, he does deals. Like, if you know that somebody does deals, you're going to talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah, I really agree that anything that we can do online, whether it's podcast or LinkedIn profile or whatever, it's all a billboard. And the message needs to be clear, consistent, and inviting. So and it's really a helpful way for people to get to know you, because we can't meet everybody and kind of make our way through the people that aren't a good connection versus are for whatever particular thing we're looking for,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You always see these people, or hear like, oh, geez, how do you find that deal? Good deals always find you. And it's like, or you got the Midas touch. People, I mean, have you heard like that type of stuff? You get somebody that you're like, geez, he's always got a great deal. I want, deals just fall on his lap, that type of thing. But I guarantee that's out of a lot of diligence. It's not just a great deal. Didn't just fall on that person's lap, for the most part. I mean, I'm sure it happens, right? But for the most part, it was because of everything that happened prior to, all that hard work that happened leading up to that point. It's so easy to think, wow, geez, they just bought a 200 unit building and it just kind of fell in their lap. Well, that just didn't happen. Just a 200 unit building, you just go, hey, you want to buy me? There was a lot of work prior to that, and they put themselves out there. So everybody knew that they were looking for a 200 unit building.
Yep. Okay. Well, good information there. If any of our viewers and listeners would like to comment on this topic, that'd be great to get your feedback on here. You can do that on Pillars of Wealth Creation Facebook page. And we're also on YouTube and, of course, iTunes, where we'd like to see your 5-star rating. So,
absolutely. Awesome. Well, appreciate it, John. You have a fantastic rest of the day and make every day Saturday.
You too.
Are you ready to start investing in real estate today but don't know where to start? Sometimes investing can seem way too complicated, but it actually couldn't be any easier than with homeinvest.com. You know the co-founder and my friend Nate Armstrong. He appeared on episode 20, and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it, episode number 20. Home Invest is a company that allows you to invest in turnkey real estate. Their goal is to build powerful investment tools that make real estate investing accessible to everyone. They have contractors and property managers available for you with the click of your mouse. While other real estate agents can only offer a property, Home Invest brings you a full turnkey package that allows you to diversify your investments, earn passive income, and start building equity in properties. Their simple, intuitive design allows newcomers and experienced investors alike to hit the ground running and to be able to choose the properties when they want and where they want. View easy to understand charts and data to allow you to buy in only a few clicks or just a simple phone call. With Home Invest, you'll be building your portfolio as quickly or as slowly as you would like. And right now, Home Invest is giving our listeners, Pillar of Wealth Creation listeners, a free course on how to finally win in real estate investing. So go to homeinvest.com/pillars. That's homeinvest.com/pillars to claim your free course today.